7 News time is 7:32. Dave White is here from New York Sea Grant to talk about water levels on Lake Ontario, also in the St. Lawrence River as well. But good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in.
Great to see you.
Water level issue is always contentious. People always are concerned about how high or low, it seems to be the story of the water level. Right now in Lake Ontario, how do things sit?
Lake Ontario and the St. Lawrence River, like almost every body of water in New York State, is above average. We've had rain every day in April. So, look near term, we've had a lot of water. We've had all the meltdown coming in. In parts of upstate New York, obviously, with the lake effect snow that we had and other storms coming through, we went into the fall with higher than average water levels in many bodies of water, and that didn't go down. I mean, they've let a lot of water through in a lot of the systems in the area, but we've continued to have a lot of moisture coming into the system. We have a lot of water coming from the upper Great Lakes, so the lake levels in many cases and river levels are still above average, so people need to be thinking about planning for their spring preparations at their cottage. Boating, is it going to have any impact with debris in the lakes as we come to the opening of the canal system or opening of fishing seasons on lakes? Folks need to be thinking about that it is going to be higher than average, especially we're continuing in a wet pattern right now, so that water has to flow out through the systems, and it just takes time, and that's not it doesn't make it easy on folks that might have their cottages and boats, but it's going to take time to get it out through the system. And then as we go into summer, people are going to be looking at, okay, how do we look at managing these water levels better over time, particularly in Lake Ontario and the St. Lawrence River.
Yeah, and it is regulated. As you mentioned, the water levels are regulated on the lake and river. As we move into the summertime, if we have all this water right now, in years past, there have been complaints that the water levels are too low, too much water is being let out of the system. Any indication of what the summer is going to bring? If we have all this water right now, could it make for a better summer?
Well, it's probably going to continue to be above average. I mean, especially as you're looking at it right now, they have been releasing water. They're trying to manage it between Lake Ontario, the St. Lawrence River, and the lower St. Lawrence River in Montreal. Probably the big issue this year, and people will be coming back from the south and opening their cottages, and it's going to be higher than average. If we get any of those spring storms, it's going to do more damage like it did last October when we had those bad storms. And, the International Joint Commission has said this year they will be finalizing and coming out with their recommendations after the 5-year study on Lake Ontario and the St. Lawrence River management. Being thrown into that mix right now on looking at the study is just in March, a minority report was issued by several of the members of the study board and the public interest advisory group raising question on the success of the study itself. But the IJC has come out saying this summer they will make their determination and their recommendation based on the 5-year study, and then they'll come out to public hearings so people that live, work, and play along the lakes, and whether you're a boater, kayaker, fisherman, or you live along the lake, you have an interest in this because how they manage the lake long term truly has an impact on all those various uses. If you're using boat launch ramp, if you're using the nearshore area. So folks really need to take a look at this and be thinking about, as those dates are announced for public hearings, what is the IJC going to recommend and how they might change the management regime for the lake. If this was occurring in a year that, the lake was pretty, flat, and near average, so to speak, there might not be as much interest, but I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of interest this year. And for folks that haven't seen it, if they go on the website for the study itself, which is www.losl.org, they can now print out and take a look at the minority report, which raises some questions about the study itself that's now going to come into play this summer as folks start to react to specifically the lake management issue for Lake Ontario and the St. Lawrence River. But it's also an issue that a lot of folks need to look at for even smaller bodies of water, is how are their lakes regulated, and really gaining an understanding of it and trying to grasp how water bodies are managed in the water flow. There's a lot of things that can be managed and impacted by man, but when it comes to water levels, Mother Nature is the driving force. And when Mother Nature says, I'm going to make it rain for a long time, and I'm going to rain for 40 days, that has an impact. And no matter what we do as man, we can only react we react slower to it because we have to look long term, because the last thing you want to do is let a lot of water out and then get into a drought setting where in August people are going to be yelling and screaming, I can't boat, the water's too shallow.
Exactly.
So it's really a balancing act, and it's very challenging to try and do that. And I encourage folks to really look at it in depth and get as much information as they can on it.
All right, Dave, thank you for coming in.
Always great to see you.
Appreciate it. We're back here in a couple of moments.